Me and Earl and the Dying Girl is a film that's based off of a book that's so simple you can finish it in one day. However, the film itself actually won the Audience Award and the Grand Jury Prize at Sundance, which is the same thing that Whiplash did. Now, what the story revolves around is this high schooler named Greg, aka me, his friend slash co-worker Earl, aka Earl, and their friend Rachel, who has cancer, aka the Dying Girl. Now, the best way that I can describe this movie is that it feels like a mixture of 4 other films, in the way that it has the cinematography of Dear White People, and then has the story that's a mixture of The Spectacular Now as well as The Fault in Our Stars, but minus the romance, and then also has like 3 drops of Wes Anderson throughout the film. And I think that it works effectively because it's able to cover these high school students but not have it completely rely on romance or have it be like a whole pity party because one of the characters has cancer, but the way that they involve the fact that this kid, in a sense, or all of these actors in a sense, are like the epitome of everything else that they've played in their other roles in this role. Because you have Greg, who in this movie is just a guy who doesn't necessarily want to get anybody mad, so he wants to be friends with everybody, but at the same time, he is a downer in and of himself, and what he does throughout the whole movie is the sort of narration and where there are cool aspects of it, where it's that Wes Anderson type of thing, where it's like a claymation and he's explaining something, but then the rest of it is sort of like, he feels like it's a series of unfortunate events, and he's telling you, you're not going to like this, it's bad, I don't know why you're still watching, and yada yada yada, and it gets to the point, it's like, I get it, alright, I got it, alright, you need to stop, man. Olivia Cooke as Rachel is more endearing than the role that she has in Bates Motel, but it's sort of like the role that she has in Bates Motel, and the same thing that she sort of had in The Signal, and where she is sick, but here again, it is more endearing. It's sort of, again, the epitome of what their roles are with everything else that they've done. Even with Earl, because if you ever see the interviews with the actual actor, he tells you, he's like, it's like they wrote the role for me, and it's just like, really, it is, because there are moments with the dialogue that work so well, and it's fun, it's quirky, that it just makes you smile and laugh. There are moments that'll, really get to you that are very dramatic, but then there are other moments which just, it feels like they fail, and you can say that the writing was bad, or you can attribute it to the fact that these are high school students and sometimes they're going to say something really awkward. The supporting cast also does a really good job because you obviously have the adults like John Bernthal, who plays a teacher who's always telling you to do research. You have Nick Offerman, who plays Nick Offerman, but he's playing the father figure this time, sort of like what he did in Kings of Summer, but a little bit more laid back. You also have Molly Shannon, who's doing the Molly Shannon type of thing, but the guy who surprised me the most was, if you remember Stanley from That's So Raven, he's in this movie and he plays Earl's brother or uncle, I can't remember what he was, but he pretty much does the Stanley thing, but from the background. He's just like yelling out stuff, and I thought that was pretty funny. But while there are things in this movie that I think work effectively well, and I wouldn't say, even though it won the same awards as Whiplash, that it is as great as Whiplash, it is more of the, funny, quirky type of movie, and it's more endearing. The movie still has some aspects that I'll give it credit that it's trying to aim for them. Again, things like the dialogue where some things don't work, but I'll say, oh, okay, it's like high schoolers. Sometimes they say things that are completely awkward. But there are other technical aspects, like they try to do this whole thing where they're walking around with the camera, they're following the mom and the son bickering, and he's on the phone and stuff like that. They try to do it in one shot, and it just makes you appreciate more what Lubeski did with Birdman, because in Birdman, he doesn't lose focus, and he sort of doesn't lose where the subject is. They do a good job here. It's not bad, but there are moments where it's just trying to pan all over, and the rolling shutter, as well as the fact that sometimes you're not completely focused on the character, shows you how much of a better job Birdman did with that. However, there are scenes where the camera just stays still and it's capturing just moments of these two characters just going at it. There's this particular scene in the bedroom, and the way that just plays out, the 10-15 minutes where it doesn't cut, works masterfully. The fact that, like I said, it's sort of that Wes Anderson type of thing, and where they also portrayed in the fact that Earl and Greg have this passion for classic films or art house films, and the fact that if you're a cinephile, the moment that you see all of these references that they have throughout the film, you'll have to watch it like 3 times to capture all of them, but it's just so engaging, especially if you like that type of things, references to old films, and even just the type of humor that Greg has in general, where he'll make like a joke where everybody's ready to go to prom and he's just like, oh, everybody's having trouble because it's a medieval prom and no one knows how to twerk medievally. However, while I enjoyed the movie and I really liked it, there is something that happens in this movie, and they do it throughout the film, and then the way that they wrap that thing up, that annoys me so much when other movies do it, that this movie did it to the point that this film would have done right here, but they did that to me, and it sort of brought it down here. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but the moment that the movie ends, you'll go, I know exactly what that kid is talking about. And it is so annoying that they do you like that that it sort of probably will, lower your grade or rating for this film. I mean, especially if you look at it the way that I do. However, that doesn't mean that the rest of the film in general doesn't do a really good job at really encompassing that sort of high school environment, and where it's not just completely reliant on the romance or completely reliant on the fact that somebody has cancer, so it's just going to be, a cry fest. It does a good job at portraying these characters, and it does it effectively. So for that, I would say definitely go check it out. I'm curious your thoughts on what you thought about this movie once it is released and you're able to watch it. If you read the book, how it compares to the book, and what you thought about these characters, and if you want to see more movies like this that aren't completely dependent, again, on the romance type of aspect of it. Definitely let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.